Hey there, I'm Kim Santini and I'm here in my studio and I'm getting ready to set up for another journaling session. And it's the season for giving, and so I thought it was perfectly suited for today's journaling lesson, which is a gift to ourselves. Grab your materials, come on into the studio and sit with me, and let's journal together. So we're going to work on a page today that includes a gift for ourselves. And what you're looking at is a lesson or my demo from a couple of years ago. And this was a pretty simple process where we drew a square on the page, topped it with a bow, and filled the square with the things that we wanted to invite more of into our lives during this busy season. You are welcome to take this process yourself and create a page similar to this, or you can dive in with this adaptation that I'm going to go into bigger detail with right now. So let's get started. Let's grab our journal, and I will show you some of the materials that I'm going to use for this session. I am working in a Ranger mixed media book. This book is special to me because every page is a different sort of material. So I have chosen to work on a page that's opposite the burlap page. I also have a page protector here. This is just a placemat from the dollar store. And I like to put that between the page I'm working on and the rest of the book, and it protects those outer pages or the page edges from getting gummed up with materials. I have some paper plates to use as a palette, along with some acrylic paints and some brushes. You can choose whatever shape brushes feel best to you. I also have a small piece of gift wrap. So you want to cut your gift wrap to a square, or the shape that is going to represent the gift that you are wrapping for yourself. I am gluing this down with some matte medium. You can use any type of adhesive that you wish though. Paper towels in case you need them for cleanup. I have water for my brushes off screen. And I have a bow as a prop, which is just a piece of ribbon that I have tied together. Don't worry, if you don't have one of these, you can Google for a reference photo down the road. This is also a little plastic rib. It is great for all sorts of things, but you're going to see me use it for pushing paint around. So now what I want to do is create a background. Now, you don't have to do this. This is an optional step. But I actually really love just squeezing paint on the page and pushing it about. It's a great way to get some marks down on the page, and I can sit and do backgrounds on multiple pages in my book and never have to commit to any additional marks over top of them at the onset. Just doing backgrounds is a great way to start. So I have chosen three similarly colored acrylic paints, and I am literally going to squeeze amounts of them down onto the page. Note that I do have my page protector in place because what I'm going to do could be a little messy and sloppy, and I want to protect the perimeter of the pages in my book from accidentally getting glued together. So I'm randomly putting these daubs of paint on my page, and then I'm going to grab this rib, and I'm just going to pull and scrape and move the paint together. I do this intentionally because I look at how beautiful those accidental marks are as the paint colors blend and get pushed around the page. I love that accidental or haphazard quality. And now because there's some, I didn't squeeze out just enough paint. It's better to err on the side of caution than to have too much to begin with. I'm going to go back and put a little bit more paint on the page and try to fill in some of those areas. And again, I'm just dragging with my rib, and I don't have to be careful about the edges of the page because I have that protector in the background or underneath the page. I am being careful about my mid seam. I do want to keep that from getting gummed up with paint because I don't necessarily, or at this point, I don't think I want paint on the burlap side of my spread here. This is also a fun exercise to do with and just generically scrape the paint around, and then when it's dry, try to find objects or hidden things in the color shapes that happen, and then do a journal page from that if you're looking for an additional challenge. Okay, now I'm going to set my page off to the side and let it dry, and I'm going to bring my piece of gift wrap in. Now remember, this piece of paper is cut to the correct size for the gift that we are going to wrap for ourselves. And I have a piece of graphite in my hand. What I want you to do here is write a letter to your younger self. If there is a message or some sort of affirmation that you would like to send to your younger self, I want you to write it on the back of this gift wrap. And you may have to choose something other than a graphite pencil, depending on what your paper looks like. So you may have to experiment with different types of pens or markers in order to get something that will actually allow you to write on the paper. This pencil, it did okay. It wasn't entirely legible, but the point isn't to write a letter that you're going to read later. It's simply to sit and do the activity and, write that letter to yourself, so that you go through the process of committing those ideas onto the gift wrap. It also doesn't have to be legible at all, so feel free to write directly over top of your words, scribble, do whatever. Just go through the action of writing that letter. So now our book is back, and I am checking to see if the page is dry. If both sides of the page feel room temperature, nothing is cool to your touch, then you are good to proceed. And it looks like I am good to go here. So what I want to do next is position or figure out where I want to put my gift on the page. I do want to put it near the bottom of the page, and I'm going to recommend that you do the same, because we need to add or allow room for those big giant floppy bows that we're going to decorate our box with or our gift with. So figure out where you're going to put your box, and if you need to make some marks on your page to align it when you're gluing, you can grab your pencil and do that. But again, make sure you're leaving enough space for that bow. And you want to use a good amount of glue so that you really, really get that paper adhered to your page. Now, I'm using acrylic medium, which is basically acrylic paint that doesn't have pigment in it. And it's pretty loose. So I've squeezed it right on the page and moved it around with that little rib. And now I'm going to seat my gift box in there, and I'm going to use the excess glue that's on my page and that rib, and I'm just going to push the glue around until I know all the corners or edges of this piece of paper are connected or have product between them and the base page. And then I'm going to let this dry. So now you're going to want to give your page the time it needs to dry properly. And again, you can check it with your hands, make sure that it is at room temp and not cool to the touch. And what we have essentially done here is gift wrapped that letter that we wrote to our younger selves. And again, it's not important that we know or are able to read what that letter is. What's important is that we know it's there and we know what that message is that we're sending to our younger selves. And now comes the best part. Now we get to decorate this box. And I have always been a fan of big, huge bows. The more ostentatious, the showier, the better. I absolutely love them. And there's a couple of different ways that you can approach this with your page. If you are not comfortable drawing or painting a bow onto your box, you can collage one. You can actually collage a literal ribbon onto your box, but you do want to be careful about the bulk of the page. For instance, if I were to put this actual ribbon in my book, it's going to keep the book from closing neatly. So if you choose to collage actual ribbon in, make certain that the volume of it or the thickness of it is such that it's not going to stress out the binding of your book. If you are going to collage a printed ribbon, you can certainly do a Google search and find an image online that you can print out and collage on. You could also take a photo with your cell phone of a piece of ribbon that you happen to have on hand, and you can print that out and collage it on. Or you can do any other idea that you may have as to how to top this box off. I'm going to actually use this ribbon as a prop, and I am going to draw it onto my box just because I absolutely love big ribbons and I love drawing them. I think it's a super fun exercise, and it really isn't that tricky of an object to draw. So I'm going to fluff up this ribbon and set it off camera here as a prop, and I'm going to grab my graphite pencil again, and I'm just going to find the edges of this bow, and I'm going to draw them in. Now, because this is a bow, it just has to look like a bow. It doesn't have to be identical to the one that I'm drawing. No one is ever going to know any different, and besides the fact this book is going to get closed up and put on the shelf, this page isn't even going to be shown or displayed or shared with anyone other than you guys through this video. So, be kind to yourself, take some pressure off of it having to be perfect, and just rejoice in the shape and the delight of a present for you with a big luscious bow on it. So I'm just finding these edges, doing a contour drawing, and setting it over as though we're over top of the box. I have a piece of ribbon that's coming down in front of the butterflies. I have another one that's going behind it. And yeah, now I am going to paint this in, and I totally forgot to record that session, or I thought I hit the record button and I didn't. So there's going to be a little jump here where you see all of a sudden that the bow is painted, but really it's just a matter of mixing up a couple of values, looking at what's in front of you, and doing your best to replicate it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going over this with my graphite pencil and drawing it again. I'm doing that because I felt like I needed an edge, a darker edge to the bow. And I really wasn't happy with how dark of an edge I got with that graphite pencil. So now I'm thinking if I go back in with a little bit more yellow, it might feel stronger, but I'm realizing pretty quickly that that's not actually what I want. I do think I want a really stronger edge here. So you can see me pushing a little bit of paint around, thinking about the highlights and the lowlights. And also you'll notice that I put some of the colors from my initial underpainting or background of the page. I squeezed some of those onto my paper plate as well, so that I can put little hints of those into the bow as I paint it. That makes it feel a little less like it's sitting on top of other marks and more like it's integrated image. So here I have realized that yes, I do really want stronger edges on that bow. So I'm going back into my gray paint and using my brush, I'm just redrawing. And one of the things that I love to do when I draw something a second time is not let it match up identically to how I've painted it. So you can see there's a little bit of a jitter on that loop of ribbon that I just outlined. where the outline actually goes out into the background and does not match directly with the edge of the ribbon. That's just a stylistic tendency that I happen to like and use a lot in my work. So it made sense for me to put that in here. And you'll see I'm still looking at the ribbon off screen and just finding little edges and putting line work in so that it feels really jaunty. And I'm thinking that I want this outline here because the butterflies in my wrapping paper all seem to have an outline too. And this is sort of a technique or approach to the ribbon makes it feel more like it is integrated or part of the gift box to begin with. It feels like it has something in common with that piece of paper that I've collaged down there. And if you've collaged a ribbon onto your own box, you can take the same strategy here of adding edges to it or outlining it if you so wish. And you could do that with, markers or paint like I am, or even a line of glue and some glitter. Get creative. Make this your own. You do not ever have to do a page exactly like my journal page. In fact, I encourage everyone to use these lessons just as a prompt or a starting point and make the journaling session, make the expression your own completely. So I'm just touching up the background a little bit here and also thinking, the box needs an edge around it too. So here I go, popping that box in or the box edge in. And about this point, I realize that I think I want to embellish the page a tiny bit more. I want to add a tag, a gift tag to it. And I'm also thinking that some collaged butterflies would be fun. I could cut more out of the wrapping paper and glue them down over top of what's here. And I was going to do that, and then I remembered that I had some butterfly stickers, and I went and found those and stuck them on the page. So here you can see my page has got, the tag with the LK on it for Little Kim and the butterfly stickers. And I may even continue to add some more details to this page. I may add or ink in an affirmation over top of it that links to or references the letter that I wrote myself. I'm going to think about it for a little bit though. A journal page doesn't have to be begun and finished in the same day. So, if you feel the need to stop, go ahead and stop. You can always come back to a page after the fact. And there you have it, a gift for yourself. This is a really busy time of year. And if you are intrigued by this project but don't feel like you have the time to sit and really process or experience it, that's okay. Give yourself permission to hold on to the idea and tackle it at a future point. Additionally, this particular concept of writing yourself a letter and then wrapping it up as a gift to yourself is a great way to approach or mark any milestone in your life. So feel free to adapt this prompt and make it work for you in whatever way you want. You can do this on a birthday or an anniversary or, like I said, some other milestone. I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity this last year to share so much journaling content with you. Thank you very much for being a part of Art SOJOURNaling and journal through it if you came to me through that project as well. We've been doing journaling together for a long time. I look forward to bringing you some new content in 2023. And meanwhile, I wish everyone a beautiful, blessed end of the year. Thank you so much for being here with me. Happy journaling.